So you're gonna go ahead and get your needle and thread, and you're gonna go to your opening, and we're gonna go inside. We're gonna put our needle inside the opening on the edge. And you want to get kind of close to the edge, about right where it starts to turn over for the fleece. And we're going to pull it through, make sure you have a knot on the end of your thread. And we're just going to go to the other side of our fabric, the side that we didn't come through. And you're going to go horizontal with your fabric. So parallel to your seam, you're going to put it in the edge and back out the other side of the edge. So keeping your needle horizontal to your seam, picking up a little bit, and you're going to pull it through. And this is going to create a line across your opening. So I'm not going to pull it yet so that you can see what it's going to look like. This is why they call it the ladder stitch, because it's going to be a whole bunch of ladder stitches like this, a whole bunch of little vertical lines. So once you're on this side, you're going to go back to the other side, and we're just going to keep going back and forth. Again, go to your other side, put your needle in, and right back out, keeping it horizontal to your seam, like this. And then you're going to pull it through, and there is your next little ladder stitch. One more time, all the way back across, in, right back out, and pull. And you can do however, spacing you want, but I like to do almost like a quarter, not quite a quarter of an inch. And I like to keep it pretty consistent. And so you're going to do that all the way across until you get to the closing of your hole. And there's our ladder stitches. And so then when you go to pull this, it makes a perfectly even seam, not even noticeable. This is my favorite stitch, and once you get the hang of it, it is so nice to use it on so many things. So once you get that all pulled, you don't want to pull too tight because it might scrunch it up, so just pull it a nice amount to get that smooth edge. And then to tie off, I like to go back in the seam, put my needle in again, and I like to pull, but I want to leave my loop, and I'm going to put my needle through that loop. So this is going to make a knot. Pull that tight, and you can do a couple knots if you want. Just kind of do the same thing. And then I like to put my needle back in the seam and just pull it through. So I'm just putting my needle in the seam. This is just going to hide that knot in the seam and just pull all the way. Don't have to tie a knot on that one. That's just to kind of help your knot get hidden inside your seam. And then you can trim your thread. Another way you can use the ladder stitch is to attach something to something else. Like with these horns, I'm doing a ladder stitch by going back and forth, just like in the previous video, and taking a little bit from one side, close to the edge, and putting my needle in and coming right back out, and then going right across to the other side and putting my needle in and back out, creating that ladder effect again, but this time stitching something into a base instead of putting two pieces together at the seam. And you're just going to do this back and forth until you get to the end and attach. Another way I like to use the ladder stitch is to hold something down, but I don't want to just do like a tack stitch because I want it to be hidden. So I'll use the ladder stitch and I'll hide my knot behind one of my layers, and then I'll just go back and forth like I do for the others. And especially black on black hides really well, but I just do the ladder stitch and go back and forth and take a little bit from each side and make it that way if anyone were to pull on this, it wouldn't come off. And then this one you can't really see that well, but I did want to show that I also use it to attach my appendages onto the hats, like Flareon's hair or Glaceon's crown thing. I use this for a lot of my hats to attach the different pieces that go on the top of it.